So in this lesson, we're going to focus on vascular tissue, specifically xylem and phloem. This is from chapter 28. The purpose of vascular tissue to a vascular plant is to help it transport materials throughout its body. The two types of complex tissues, which if you recall, complex tissues mean that they're made of more than one type of cell, versus a simple tissue is made of one type of cell. So xylem and phloem are the two types of complex tissues that comprise vascular tissue. They each have a specific role to play in the plant. Xylem conducts water and materials like minerals that are dissolved in that water coming from the roots and transporting it to the stems and leaves of the plant. Xylem also plays a role in providing structural support for the plant. Phloem, often found in the same area as the xylem, is specifically moving the food produced via photosynthesis throughout the plant. So going from, for example, the leaves and other photosynthetic structures to all the other parts of the plant that need that food in order to use it as a substrate for cellular respiration, to make ATP, to be able to do work and stay alive. Now I want to go back to this first diagram just to remind you that vascular tissue, including xylem and phloem, are found in roots, stems, and leaves of plants. Now we're going to look at some diagrams of some examples of cross sections of vascular tissue in roots, stems, or leaves. Maybe not all of them, but a few examples. This is a cross section of a root from a eudicot. For example, that might be the green bean, but it's already a plant with roots that have emerged and developed in the soil. And this is a cross section. So somebody prepared a slide by cutting through the root, a very, very thin section, and mounting it. So it's like you're looking at the root as if you cut it, like if you're slicing like a carrot. And then you look at that slice that you made, but you're looking at it from a top-down view. The internal structures of that root is what we're looking at here. So the area I want you to focus on for now is what's in the middle there. This is a vascular ring or vascular cylinder in the center of the eudicot, and this is a pretty characteristic looking eudicot root. It has this solid core in the middle of xylem, surrounded by phloem. And the pattern of the xylem and phloem makes this like X or a cross, depending on how it's oriented on the slide. In this perspective, it's an X, but if it was turned a little bit, 45 degrees anyway, it would look like a cross. So that is something you can notice when you look at a cross section of a root from a eudicot. And you won't see that in a monocot root. So I don't have an image of that, in fact, on the slide, but if you see an example of a root cross section and it doesn't have that cross pattern, then you can assume it's from a monocot, not a eudicot. Now let's take a look at cross sections of stems from both monocots and dicots, because we can also see some interesting comparisons there with regard to the vascular tissue. On the left, we have a eudicot stem, and notice that the vascular tissue is oriented in these little bundles or cylinders that go around the whole outer area of the stem. In the middle of that is something called pith, which is also it's made of parenchyma cells for storage. It's surrounded by the vascular tissue. So you have in the middle the ground tissue or the pith, surrounded by then the vascular tissue. On the right side now, let's take a look at the monocot cross section. The vascular bundles, these little purple areas there of xylem and phloem, they're scattered around, and there's no clear defined pith. There is ground tissue in between all of those vascular bundles, but it's not in like one central location. So these are trends that you can look for when trying to differentiate between monocots and eudicots.